All right, so this deep dive is brought to you by the Association of Workers' Compensation Boards of Canada.
Hmm.
You know them as the AWCBC.
Yeah.
Welcome back to the deep dive. Today, we are diving into some big trends, coming up in 2025, pensions and employee benefits.
Absolutely.
We're going to be looking at, a really interesting article from the AWCBC
Mm.
and get ready to discover how these pension plans are using extra cash they have.
Right.
Why virtual healthcare is making employers ask some tough questions, and what changes could impact your retirement savings.
Yeah, it is a fascinating time, I think, for this sector because
Yeah.
you've got so many things kind of coming together at the same time, right?
Yeah.
Economic conditions, regulatory changes, people's needs are changing, employees' needs, and all of this is kind of reshaping, the landscape.
Yeah, and speaking of reshaping the landscape, let's talk about pension de-risking.
Okay.
The AWCBC article really highlights that pension plans are using buy-in and buyout annuities
Right.
to manage risk. Can you break down what that means and why it's happening now?
Sure. So you can think of it this way. A pension plan has this pool of money.
Right.
And it needs to grow to cover all the payments they have to make to retirees.
Mm-hmm.
And so buy-in and buyout annuities are essentially a way for the plan to move that risk to an insurance company.
Okay.
So they pay a lump sum
Mm.
to the insurer, and then the insurer takes over the responsibility of making those future payments.
Wow.
It's kind of like passing the buck, but in a responsible way.
Right? Yeah.
And it makes a lot of sense right now because interest rates are high.
Yeah.
So it's cheaper for the plan to buy these annuities.
Okay, so if your pension plan decides to de-risk like this, what does that mean for you as an individual?
Well, it could mean a few things. It could mean that if the plan has extra money after buying these annuities,
Mhm.
they might think about things like contribution holidays,
Mm.
where you temporarily start making payments.
Yeah.
It could potentially mean, benefits
Mm.
or even lump sum payouts in some cases.
Interesting.
But it's important to remember that, getting to this surplus money,
Right.
it's a complex process.
Yeah.
Lots of regulations. And the plan really has to focus on long-term sustainability.
Yeah, for sure. And speaking of running things responsibly,
Right.
the article talks about enhanced pension plan governance.
Yes.
What's driving that?
Well, there's definitely a bigger focus these days on managing risk and, making sure that plan members are protected. We've seen new guidelines from organizations like CAPESA and FSRA.
Okay.
These are major regulatory bodies.
Right.
And they're really emphasizing clear roles and responsibilities for people, robust risk assessment, and more transparency in decision making.
So kind of like another set of eyes on everything.
Exactly. It's like having, an independent watchdog looking after your pension
Right.
to make sure everything's on the up and up.
I like that analogy.
Yeah.
Okay, so the AWCBC article also, dives into some changes happening with decumulation options within defined contribution plans.
Right.
What are those and why are they important for people?
Yeah. So decumulation basically means how you take money out of your retirement savings.
Okay.
And traditionally, defined contribution plans haven't offered too many options for how you get to that money
Right.
once you're retired.
Yeah.
But there are some really cool changes happening. Like there's a lot of interest now in variable life benefits
Okay.
within these plans.
Yeah.
And these benefits give retirees more flexibility in managing their savings and, create income streams that work for them.
And that kind of ties into this other development that the article mentions,
Right.
which is the government's initiative to encourage more domestic investments
Yes, definitely.
with pension plans.
So one way they're looking at this is by potentially relaxing the 30% rule,
Okay.
which currently limits how much, pension funds can invest in certain types of assets. And by easing these restrictions, the government's hoping to encourage pension funds to invest more in Canadian businesses and infrastructure.
Yeah, so it's kind of like a win-win.
Exactly.
You boost the Canadian economy and you give these pension funds, more diverse options
Precisely.
for investment.
Yeah.
Okay, let's switch gears a little bit. Talk about something that's really impacting all of us right now.
Sure.
Virtual healthcare.
Yeah.
It's just booming.
Yeah.
But what does it mean for employers and their benefit plans?
That's a great question. So virtual healthcare is here to stay. I think it's safe to say that.
Yeah.
And it's creating a lot of things that employers have to think about. You know, they need to figure out how to integrate these services into their benefit plans,
Right.
how to deal with the tax implications.
Yeah.
It's a whole new world.
And then there's the question of, data privacy.
Exactly.
Right.
Big one.
Huge.
Employers need to make sure they're protecting employee data,
Yeah.
complying with privacy regulations when they offer virtual health care.
It is a tough thing to navigate for sure.
Yeah. Complex
Plus,
landscapes.
This is really a modern dilemma, right?
Yeah.
We all love the convenience of virtual healthcare, but then there are those concerns
Absolutely.
about, who have your data.
Yeah. Where is it going?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. It's definitely something to think about.
It's something we all need to think about as these services, become more integrated into our lives. Well, we've covered a lot of ground today.
We have.
From pension de-risking
Right.
to virtual healthcare, it's clear that the world of pensions and employee benefits is changing.
Absolutely. It's more important than ever for people to stay up to date on these trends
Yeah.
and understand how they could affect their own, finances and their benefit choices.
Couldn't agree more. And as we move further into 2025, it's only going to keep changing.
Yeah.
So, stay informed.
Stay informed.
For more information, check out the article, Pensions and Employee Benefits, Trends for 2025 on the AWCBC website.
Good stuff.
Thanks for joining us on The Deep Dive.